Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Okay, let us start. Just setting up things. जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वंश कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते रघुनाथ स्वामी नामने। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नामने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री द्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्री गुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानंद माधवम श्री चैतन्य ईश्वरम। हरि ओम तत्सत। हरे कृष्ण। So welcome back to this auspicious discussion of the flow of the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Pravaha. So, as I had mentioned earlier, we are still on the discussion of the various philosophical concepts. I'm going to be making an attempt as far as possible to make it easily digestible and simple. So, please hang on. Whether you feel you understand or you feel you don't understand, it is okay. The beauty of Lord Hari's Leela is such that it purifies us if we listen attentively with faith. So, this is very wonderful. This is the difference between material things and spiritual things. Material things are successful only if they bear their specific results. Spiritual things, especially as far as bhakti is concerned, bear effort just in terms of the effort, independent of whether at an external level the intended objective is achieved or not, or to what level it is achieved. Because bhakti is based on the sincerity of our endeavor. So let us keep it that way so that we can get the best result. So in this Chaitanya Pravaha, we discussed in the last class about we have completed the external reasons for Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance, and we had just begun the conversation on the discussion of the internal reasons for the appearance of Lord Chaitanya. So briefly to summarize, the external reasons are those reasons that the Lord appears to do something for the world, and the internal reasons are the reasons of the Lord himself for his own purpose, which means Sri Krishna himself feels that there is something that he wants to achieve. And this itself is a very interesting statement. Oh, what can it be that God wants to achieve? And we discussed about this for quite some time in the last couple of classes. So as far as the Lord is concerned, we discussed briefly in the last, actually we have already started the 4th chapter, which is the chapter on the internal reasons for Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance. But we did not delve directly into the topic of discussion of the 3 reasons why Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appears, internal reasons. This particular chapter is a very long chapter. Just to give you some idea, this particular chapter is, in terms of verses, is 277 verses. So quite long. Bhagavad Gita maximum is 78 in any chapter. I don't think in Chaitanya Charitamrita any chapter is 78 verses. It's usually in hundreds. So this chapter is 277 verses. And most of it, at least in this chapter, is discussion of philosophical truths. So in the last conversation, we discussed about who is this Srimati Radharani to Krishna. And that she is a Swarup Shakti, just like fire has a light, has effulgence, musk has a fragrance, which is inseparable. The Lord and his energy are one, but yet they are two. Why they have become two? For the sake of experiencing love. Because the Lord is Aptakama. Aptakama means he's not dependent on something external for his own happiness. And the Lord wants to fulfill his own purpose. He can independently fulfill his own purpose without going outside. He himself becomes two. Correct? When we need company, we need to go and look for somebody. When God needs company, he can become two. The Supreme Absolute Truth becomes Radha and Krishna. Krishna's Swarupa Shakti. And she takes a very, very beautiful transcendental form. Krishna becomes the Shaktiman, the enjoyer, and she becomes the Shakti, the spiritual Shakti, the original Swarup Shakti, which has 3 aspects: Sandhini, Samvit, and Ladhini. Sandhini is the existence potency. I'm just summarizing what we discussed last time, so I'm not going to go into great detail. Samvit is the knowledge potency, and Ladhini is the pleasure potency. Ultimately, everybody is looking for pleasure, isn't it? We all want happiness. And even our own tendency to look for happiness comes from Krishna, because we are part and parcel of Krishna, because Krishna is looking for happiness. When he expands, Krishna has 2 kinds of expansions: his own personal expansions and his separated expansions, Swamsha and Vibhinna Amsha. So you may say, oh, Vishnu is also expansion of Krishna, and I'm also expansion of Krishna, so I and Vishnu are equal. No, Vishnu is a personal expansion. Now, there are various categories in that expansion. That's a topic for another day. We had briefly discussed that earlier in a few classes earlier. I'm not going to repeat that. There are Prabhava, Vilasa, and so many other kinds of expansions. Then there are the expansions of the Purusha avatars and so on and so forth. So there are personal expansions or of the tattva of Godhead. And there are tiny part and parcel expansions. There are Amsha incarnations also, which are God, but they are part of God. But we are the tiniest possible part of God that can exist independently. And we are separated, which means we are coming from God. In that sense, qualitatively, we are like God. But we are separated, vibhinna. We are not of the tattva of God. We are of the tattva of Shakti, of his energies. Very tiny. So if you think of the sun, from the sun there is sunshine in all directions. So from the sunshine, according to modern physics, a light coming out is full of photons. Photon is, you can in very simple words, you can say the particle of light. So the living entity is like that, the jiva, vibhinna amsha, of the nature of God, of the nature of light, but there's no comparison. We are not sources of light, we are part of the light itself. But from God, other sources of light may come, which are also like the sun, but maybe smaller in dimension. Those are the Vishnu tattvas. Some may be equal, some may be small. Elsewhere, the example of one candle lighting another is given. Of expansions of God, different candles. So many candles are lit. They are all God, because they are all giving out light. They are all of the nature of Bhagwan. They are of the nature of Godhead. But they are of different potencies. But the Jiva, the Vibhinna Amsha, is a separated part and parcel. Anyway, this concept is very important to understand. So Krishna expands himself into two, his Shakti and himself. And his Swarup Shakti is Radharani herself personified. And she is the source of all happiness, Hladini potency. She is the personification. And the highest state of joy is Mahabhav. And she is Mahabhav Swarupini. She is perfect in her ability to serve Krishna. She is perfect in all the qualities that Krishna would get attracted to. And she can give unlimited pleasure to Krishna. She is the enchantress of Krishna. God is enchanting the whole world. We discussed this briefly. God is Madana Mohana. If you remember, we discussed how the god of love, material attraction, Madana, once came to Vrindavan to see Krishna because he heard, oh, very handsome boy is here. Let me go and check out. How can he be more handsome than me? Everybody falls for me. Then I hit an arrow. It hits somebody's heart. Right? Even, in the world commonly there's a heart shown and there's an arrow going through shown. Now, where does this idea come from? This idea comes from Cupid, Kamadev. Kamadev sends Pushpa Ban, not Ban of metal, Pushpa Ban. Anyway, that's a big topic. I don't want to go into that. But the idea is he sends an arrow which will sting in the heart and one gets affected. With material lust, material love, material attachment. So he said, oh, who's this? Everybody seems to be affected by this person called Krishna. So he went. And as soon as he saw Krishna, the Acharya say, Madan fainted. Can you imagine? Madan fainted on seeing Krishna's beauty. He couldn't take it. He couldn't even comprehend what kind of beauty this is. So Krishna is the epitome of such beauty. So attractive. Akarshati iti Krishna. Extremely, extremely beautiful. Extremely beautiful. But Radharani is enchanting Krishna also. She is Madan Mohan. Krishna is Madan Mohan because he enchanted Madan. But Radharani is Madan Mohan Mohini. She is the enchantress of the enchanter of Madan. A boss ka boss. She is. Krishna is a big hero. She is super heroine. That is her position. So Krishna was thinking like this. Now most of this chapter is about what Krishna was thinking in his heart. Now this is a very, very deep, profound, confidential subject matter. Now you may ask, Prabhuji, what is this? Who went into God's heart and went inside and saw and understood? And you are giving us class here about, oh, God was thinking like this and all nonsense you're talking. So let us understand how we know this. So that you know that this is not some entertaining imagination or somebody's speculation. This is actually Krishna. The whole topic of Krishna and Radha, this whole Leela itself is a very, very deep secret. It's not even revealed in the Vedas so much. Only a hint is given. We have discussed this topic multiple times, so I don't want to go again into too much detail, but just want to quickly state that Radha and Krishna being the original form of God, Radha and Krishna are God at home. Vishnu and Narayan are God in the office. So most of the time you can see God at office, but you cannot go to see God at home unless you are a personal friend. So very few people know about God's personal life. Correct? Sometimes you may know your boss as a professional, but how is he at home? How does he behave? How does he talk? How does he interact with his family? We have most of us have no access unless you are so close that the boss invites you to his home. So this knowledge about Krishna is not even available in the Vedas. This is very, very confidential. And we discussed this also. Krishna doesn't even come personally in every yuga. He comes only personally as Shyam Sundar, the original Krishna, comes only once in a day of Brahma. In a day of Brahma, there are 1000 Chaturyugas. Satya, Treta, Dwapar, Kali. The cycle of 4 is a Chaturyuga. There are 1000 Chaturyugas in a day of Brahma. Only one out of them, 1 out of 1000, Krishna comes personally in the Dwapar. He comes in the 28th Chaturyuga of the 8th Manvantar of every day of Brahma. Schedule is fixed. And whenever he comes in Dwapar Yuga, immediately in the following Kali Yuga, he himself comes again as Lord Chaitanya. So only in the small window is this Leela revealed. Krishna, his personality and knowledge about him. And obviously, if it is revealed only in that window, this most original form of Godhead is also only accessible in that window, isn't it? In other times, people don't even know. They don't know anything about the form of God at home. Briefly, there may be references in the Vedas of Krishna, of Goloka, but they have no understanding. Because Krishna has already explained, we discussed this in Chaitanya Charitamrita in the earlier chapters, that Krishna himself says, through love for me, which is full of Aishwarya Bhav, One can only attain Vaikuntha unless one loves me in a very close and intimate way, as a friend, as a lover, as a parent, as a someone in a very intimate way, where one loves me for who I am, not because of what I can do or what kind of power I have, not as God, but as the Sham Sundar, as a friend, as a lover, as a child. That kind of love only has the strength to attract me. And that's why in other yugas it's not possible to attain this kind of an abode of Goloka. So what I'm trying to bring to our understanding again is anyway knowledge about Krishna is very rare. And right now we are sitting within that window. Please understand. Day of Brahma is 4.32 billion years. This window is available for a maximum period of 15,000 years only. Please divide 15,000 upon 4.32 billion. It's like a door is closed all the time, just opens for a second or two and closes again. Can you imagine how difficult it is to get access to this knowledge? When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, for his own internal reasons, because he's Krishna himself, his closest associate Swarup Damodar Goswami, who is actually none other than Lalita Sakhi, the immediate servitor of Srimati Radharani. She was closely serving Lord Chaitanya, was experiencing this intense mood of love of Krishna. Krishna, who's experiencing love of Krishna. And he was close, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would pour out his heart. Krishna pouring out his heart. And not just pouring out his heart in a sane way, giving a Bhagavatam class or a Chaitanya Charitamrita class. Krishna would be, as Krishna's Lord Chaitanya would be besides himself in the ecstasy of loving separation, and pour out his heart and his feelings in front of Sarup Damodar. Sometimes he would put his arms around the neck of Sarup Damodar and cry profusely, expressing his innermost sentiments. So all these reasons for his appearance, Lord Chaitanya, who is Krishna himself, has himself revealed. And Swarup Damodar Goswami, whose Lalita Sakhi, has noted them down, because he was also the personal secretary of Lord Chaitanya. And he's one of the most exalted eternal associates. And the Lord would experience these very, very deep, profound moods of loving devotion to Krishna, especially in the moods of separation, so intense. We'll be discussing this in great detail when we come to Antya Leela. It is just mind-blowing. You cannot even imagine. So wonderful, so deep, so profound. Krishna needed somebody to stabilize him and take care of him. That much he would be lost in love. And Swarup Damodar Goswami would perform that service because nobody else could. Only such a very powerful, confidential associate could. He would sing various beautiful, based on the mood that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in, to nourish that mood, to support the mood, he would sing various shlokas from various scriptures. And in that way, he would give deep pleasure to the heart of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. All these pastimes happened in a place known as Gambhira in Jagannath Puri. We have visited, many of us who have come together in our yatra, we have visited this place together. It's a very, very sweet place. In that place, there's a small room where Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed. There, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's sandals, his water pot, his cloth, his beads are still there. Anyway, so because of this direct access that Sarup Damodar Goswami had to the heart of Lord Chaitanya, these revelations of Krishna's heart have become available. Can you imagine what kind of book this Chaitanya Charitamrita is? Even the Vedas do not know about God and God's personal life in detail. Here, God in his highest ecstasy is revealing, and his innermost heart is being documented. And we are here today discussing about it. Can you imagine our good fortune? Even though at least I myself am so atrociously underqualified to discuss any of this subject matter. And truly, not saying out of any humility, but truly. But nonetheless, because the great acharyas have given this to us, we are trying to hear and absorb whatever little we can, at least will become purified. Because that's the whole reason the Lord came. The Lord came because he wanted to give this to us. He wanted to give the prem of Vraja and the method to acquire it to this world, even to the most unqualified people. So, based on his instructions, even though we are so insignificant in our spiritual merits, we have been blessed and permitted to receive this highest of highest things. So we thank him very much. So again, I'm just explaining how this knowledge has been made available to us of what is in Krishna's heart. If you remember, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami referred to the diaries of Sarup Damodar Goswami. He referred to many diaries. One of them was the diaries of Sarup Damodar Goswami. So this revelation of God's heart of hearts is there. So let us, we are getting this privy, this exclusive privilege of peeping into Krishna's heart. Let's see what Krishna is thinking. What is it that Krishna is wondering about? So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami summarizes very beautifully. Krishna is Rasaraj. Now Krishna is himself thinking. Okay, now whatever I'm speaking is Krishna thinking to himself. Krishna is thinking, I am a Rasaraj. I am the sum total of all mellows. But even though I am the sum total of all mellows, I am a Rasaraj. I have three desires that are not yet fulfilled. Just give me 1 minute. So let us understand these three desires one by one. So first thing is, Krishna was thinking that I am the cause of all rasas. I am the ultimate source. There is nothing beyond me. And I am full of joy also. But I am quite surprised that even though I am the supreme person and the source of all rasas and full of joy, Radharani's love for me drives me mad. How does it make sense? How can I, who's a Rasaraj, be driven mad? Even though I control and make the whole world dance, Radharani's love is such that it makes me dance. I'm like a Katputli, like a puppet in the hands of Srimati Radhini. I have no idea of the strength of her love. I have unlimited strength, but if she can make me dance, imagine what is the strength of her love. Not gross strength, the strength of her love. And also, Krishna is thinking, I get happiness by her love, but I can see that her love for me gives 10 million times more happiness to her when she feels love for me than I get in experiencing her love. This is God almost feels that this is unfair. I am the boss. It's like the boss has salary 1 million and the employee has salary 10 million. So why the employee is enjoying more than me? I'm just giving a very gross example, but Krishna is thinking, I'm Purushottam. I am Rasaraj. But my energy, whom I manifested to increase my happiness, she is experiencing happiness in loving me, which is 10 million times more. And he's like, what is this? I never expected it would be like this. This is a great mystery. This is Krishna's botheration, transcendental botheration. It's not any kind of envy. It is just his curiosity. Wow, what is this? How she's experiencing this kind of happiness? And not only this, her love for me is ever increasing, ever expanding. Nothing is greater than her love. And in spite of such kind of extraordinary love for me, her love is absolutely free from all false pride. Normally, somebody who with her love can control the controller of all controllers. Will think, oh, I am great. I can make Krishna dance. But her love is so pure, so pure. It has no pride, even though at an external level, her love seems crooked at times. Sometimes it appears a bit duplicitous. Because Radharani sometimes in her love for Krishna will play all kinds of games with Krishna. Sometimes she'll chastise Krishna. Sometimes she will say, I don't want to talk to you. Sometimes she will, at an external level, appear to lie or avoid meeting Krishna. So she does various kind of things. At an external level, it may appear that she's proud. She's trying to do crooked things. But Krishna says, I know. Even though she does all this, her love is topmost. It is extremely pure. It is does not have even the slightest tinge of material pride. And at the same time, it is thoroughly selfless. Which means even through all these apparently crooked, perverse, duplicitous maneuvers in their relationship that Radharani sometimes seems to execute at an external level. For example, Krishna wants to sometimes take the butter from Radharani, but Radharani doesn't want to give. All just to increase the loving reciprocation. She's so expert. She's so expert. She knows exactly what I should do to increase Krishna's love. So Krishna saying, how she knows exactly what is needed to increase my happiness. So she's so good at it. I am the object, the Vishaya, the subject of all love. Right? Because all love is directed towards Krishna, isn't it? And she's the ashray, she's the abode of love. So logically, everybody is loving me and offering their love to me, devotion to me, serving me, and she is the main abode of that love. So logically, I am the receiver. Everybody else is the giver. I should be the one who's enjoying the most. And at an external level, the whole world sees me as the ultimate enjoyer. Even the Bhagavad Gita says I am the ultimate enjoyer. But I am figuring out actually she's enjoying more than me. It's Radharani. How is that possible? What is this? What kind of love is this? What kind of love is this that the Ashraya Tattva is experiencing a greater pleasure than the Vishaya? The giver is experiencing greater happiness than the receiver of service. This is an amazing Tattva. And that is why in Bhakti, those who understand this Tattva, they find the path of Bhakti very easy. Those who fail to understand this Tattva, they struggle in Bhakti. So Bhakti is simple, but it is not easy. It is not easy because people fail to understand this principle. What is that principle? Serving has greater pleasure than receiving service. And Krishna is also experiencing this eternally. Saying, wow, I created my Swarup Shakti, I separated as Radharani, and I created the Jivas and all this to expand my pleasure. Yes, I have expanded my pleasure. I am finding so much happiness, but hey, Radharani is experiencing more joy. What is this? This is something wonderful. This is something amazing. Krishna becomes amazed by the glory of the love of Radharani. And Krishna feels deeply within his heart that I must understand the greatness of her love. I want to taste. To understand the greatness, I have to taste what she is tasting. But I am eternally the Vishaya, the subject. How can the Vishaya experience what the object is experiencing? I cannot. I must become, or I must adopt the mood of the object to experience the subject, the Vishaya. Otherwise, how can I experience? You understand this point? Krishna says, I cannot understand the glory of her love unless I become like her and take her position to approach me, because I cannot understand myself, being myself. So if I become the Ashraya Tattva, then I can be able to understand that greatness and taste that joy. In a very beautiful prayer, those who understand this principle, Tukaram Maharaj once says in a very beautiful prayer, it's in Marathi. He says, I don't want to sing, my throat is not too good. It's a very beautiful verse. He says, Kamodini kaya zane to parimala Brahmara Sakala Shodhitase. That the lotus has no idea of its own fragrance. The lotus cannot appreciate the sweetness of its own fragrance. But the Brahmara, the bumblebees, always looking for that and getting intoxicated by it. And the lotus is wondering, what is this? Why are they so excited? What is so wonderful about me that they are getting so excited? But the lotus cannot understand. In the same way, O Lord, Taise tuja thave nahi tuje nama amichate prema rasa jano. Oh God, you have no idea about this devotion of yours, which is accessible through your holy name, this bhakti of yours. Only devotees know about this. You don't know. There's something we know that you don't know. Because you are the lotus, how you will experience. This is exactly the same idea. Because he's a pure, actually, Tukaram Maharaj was initiated by Lord Chaitanya, so he could understand this principle. In a dream, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu initiated Tukaram Maharaj. That's why he also chants Rama Krishna Hari, just like we chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, he chants Rama Krishna Hari. Accessing that nectar of pure devotion through the chanting of the holy name. That was the whole process that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to. It was a very beautiful verse, very profound. So Tukaram Maharaj is telling Krishna, you have no idea. We know it. So I have something, Krishna, which you cannot taste. And Krishna cannot tolerate this. Not out of any anger or envy, but Krishna becomes greedy. I also want. Even my ordinary devotees are experiencing, Radharani is experiencing it 1,000,000 times than my own happiness. What is this? This is very unfair. I am most beautiful, I am most attractive, but I cannot enjoy myself. This is my problem. And I cannot experience the love of loving me. This is a problem. Can you imagine what kind of problem God has? This is very amazing. That's why Prabhupada repeatedly says, we all think that we all want to be God, but God wants to be devotee. Especially a devotee like Srimati Radharani. So that was one desire of Krishna. I want to understand the glory of Radharani's love. And for that, I must take the mood of Ashraya rather than being the Vishaya. Second desire of Krishna, which is related to this desire. All three desires are interrelated. It's basically all related to this central idea of Radharani, of the glory of Radharani love and how much she's enjoying more than him. Krishna is also thinking, Radharani is so attractive to me. I'm so attractive. My sweetness is maddening the whole world. And nobody tastes and experiences my sweetness more than Srimati Radharani. My beauty, my qualities, my guna, my leela, they are unlimited. And nobody can taste them as much as Srimati Radharani. No one can find their limit. Because Radharani is like my mirror. She tastes it and experiences it the best. In fact, there is an eternal competition between me and Radharani. What is that competition? There's a competition between my sweetness and her love. So by seeing my sweetness, her love expands. And when I see her love for me expand, my sweetness expands further and my beauty expands further. When Radharani sees my qualities and beauty expand further, her joy and love for me expands even more. And when I see that, again, my sweetness expands more. So expand. You know, it unlimitedly expanding since eternal time. So this is mind-boggling. We cannot imagine also. These are the games God plays. Okay, these are which God is revealing in the pages of Chaitanya Charitamrita through his devotees. So both Krishna's beauty and sweetness and Radharani's love unendingly increase infinitely. But this beauty, this sweetness, this madhurya of mine, which is attracting the whole world and attracting Srimati Radharani, I am unable to experience it. What is this? I am so beautiful. I am so attractive, but I can't experience it. Everybody else is experiencing it. Again, because I am the Vishaya. I am not the Ashraya Tattva. It is said one day in Dwarka, when Krishna was walking in his palace and the palace pillars, which were made of gems, which were very reflective, where the image of the person would get reflected, he was walking, and suddenly Krishna saw within the pillar the image of somebody. And when he saw that image of somebody just through the side of his eyes, Krishna got attracted. Oh, such beauty, such attractiveness. Who is this? Krishna looked into the pillar and he realized it is his own reflection. And Krishna really started thinking, wow, I'm so attractive. I'm so beautiful. I'm so wonderful. It's not fair that I cannot experience this. My devotees are experiencing this, especially Srimati Radharani is unlimitedly experiencing this. I also want to experience this sweetness. Again, Krishna felt, I must take the mood of Ashraya to taste the Vishaya. It's like the sugar. This is also another example which Tukaram Maharaj gives. Tukaram Maharaj is far out. And not that others have not given, it's just that because I know these examples I'm mentioning. Tukaram Maharaj says, I don't want to become sugar. I want to be the one who tastes the sugar, because the sugar cannot taste itself. The sugar may be so sweet, but the sugar cannot taste itself. Only we can taste the sugar. So the devotees are teasing Krishna. You cannot taste yourself. We are tasting you. You are so amazing. You are so wonderful. So you are so beautiful. And Krishna is saying, you think you all are smart? I am even more smart. Because I am unlimited and I am the source of everything, I can also become my own devotee to experience this. So Krishna is fully capable of solving his problems. Problems, so to say. This is his transcendental desire. So Krishna was deliberating. This is one more thing I need to take care of. And then the third desire that excuse me, Krishna had is, Krishna was thinking that I also want to experience the happiness that Radharani is experiencing, because I can see that her happiness is 1,000,000 times of my happiness. What is this joy of becoming my bhakta? Yes, I want to experience me, the taste of my beauty and my madhurya, but I also want to feel that happiness. I only know the happiness of receiving seva, but I cannot experience the happiness of giving seva. Especially to me, who's the ultimate object of receiving seva. So Krishna becomes eager to experience the ecstasy of the bhakta, of the bhakti of the greatest bhakta, Radharani. Amongst all the categories of devotees, the spiritual emotions of the residents of Vrindavan are the highest. And amongst the residents of Vrindavan, the gopis' love of madhurya. There are 5 rasas, right? Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya and Madhurya. The love of madhurya is the highest. Within madhurya, there are 2 levels, right? Swakiya and Parakiya, the wives and the girlfriends. I'm just putting it in very plain words. The gopis have the Parakiya ras, which means they're not married to Krishna, but they are loving Krishna. Like a young girl would love a young boy. The gopis' love is so fascinating and it is at such a high level. The secret of experience of happiness in bhakti is revealed in the pages of Chaitanya Charitamrita as caused by the extreme selflessness of the devotee. Now, this is also a very interesting, amazing principle or insight of bhakti, which is also very hard to realize. And it is related to the previous insight where we said that the one who offers seva receives higher bliss than the one who receives seva. Going deeper, the point is the more selfless one is in serving Krishna, the more ecstasy he experiences. Now, this is also very counterintuitive, because the normal logic is if I do things which suit my purpose, then I'll be more happy, isn't it? But here, the whole philosophy of bhakti is the more you totally disregard your own convenience, happiness, pleasure, and exclusively focus on giving full pleasure to Krishna without any selfish consideration whatsoever, to that extent, the bliss of bhakti will be experienced. This is very interesting. And this kind of pure and spotless devotion the gopis of Vrindavan have. They don't even consider any social customs. They will even disregard scriptural injunctions and relatives just for the sake of serving Krishna. They will disregard their own pleasure and own convenience and the pain that may be caused to themselves, body, mind, words, for Krishna's service. Remember, there was this beautiful pastime where Krishna had a headache and Narad Muni went to Krishna. Krishna was in Dwarka and Narad Muni came to him and Krishna was like this. Headache, headache. And no matter what medicine, Krishna's headache was not getting cured, even with the best Vaidyas. So Narad Muni asked Krishna, what happened and what can I do? How can I help you? I am your devotee, let me serve you. He says, if a pure devotee of mine give me the dust of their feet, then I can use that as a balm, ointment on my head, and then my headache will go. So you please go and get it. But Narad Muni said, oh Lord, but if somebody, the Shastra says, if somebody puts the dust of their feet on your head, they will go to hell. Krishna says, I don't know all these things. I will just have a headache. I need my headache to be cured. So Narad Muni says, okay, I'll try to figure out what to do. So Narad Muni goes all over, to cut a long story short. Everybody wants to serve Krishna, even amongst the devotees. But they're thinking, how can I give the dust of my feet and put it on Krishna's head? This is so offensive. I'll go to hell if I do that. Finally, he comes to Vrindavan and he comes to the gopis. And he tells, this is what has happened. Krishna has a headache and he wants the dust from the feet of his devotees. As soon as the gopis hear that, immediately they take a cloth and all the gopis come and they start dusting their feet and gathering the dust. And they pack it for Narad Muni. Come, quick, take that. Go. Means they're not even wanting him to wait. Quickly go, take the dust and go. Don't waste more time. Hey, what do you know what you're doing? You will go to hell if you put the dust. That is the problem. That's why I'm going all over. What do you think? I cannot do it, is it? Or who's going to do like this? The gopis say, if by the dust of our feet, Krishna's headache can be cured even for 1 second, we think it is worthwhile for all of us to go to hell eternally to give some relief to Krishna from his headache even for 1 second. And they actually earnestly, deeply feel like that. They're not just giving a film dialogue. That is the utter selflessness of the gopis. And Narad Muni was like shocked beyond belief. He understood the glory of the love of the gopis. And because of this kind of an extraordinary selflessness, Krishna feels so indebted to the gopis because of their love. That Krishna feels, in fact, he says in the pages of the Bhagavatam, there's a beautiful verse, I don't remember the verse, but in that verse, Krishna says that I cannot repay you, O gopis, for the love that you have for me. Even if I try to repay you for an entire lifetime of Brahma, I will fail to repay you. Can you imagine if God is saying like this to somebody? And God is feeling like that, earnestly, that even after being the Lord and Master of everything, I do not believe I have the capacity to repay you, even for a lifetime of Brahma. So please be satisfied by your own devotion. Krishna is telling to the gopis, I can't repay you. Can you imagine what kind of love this is? And can you imagine if Krishna has this kind of a love for somebody, how much we should seek the association of these kind of devotees, and what their prayers and their blessings can do to us. Every aspect of the gopis' life is extremely and exclusively dedicated to Krishna. They decorate themselves not to become beautiful, but because it gives pleasure to Krishna. The happiness of the gopis is happiness of Krishna. And the amazing thing about bhakti is that when you are exclusively focused on Krishna's happiness, that mood of exclusively focusing on Krishna's happiness gives a joy, even though they don't desire. They experience a great joy in that bhakti, even though their objective is not to enjoy bhakti. You understand? The gopis are not worshipping Krishna so that they will feel happy. Correct? When we are taking to bhakti, why are we taking to bhakti? Oh, I'll be free from the miseries of this world. I want to experience the happiness of bhakti. Gopis are not thinking like this. Gopis are thinking, to hell with my happiness, to hell with I can be in hell for eternity. I just want to give pleasure to Krishna. That intense feeling gives them such an intense happiness that happiness is 10 million times greater than Krishna's pleasure in receiving the seva. The gopis exactly know Krishna's mind. They know what will please Krishna, how they should speak, how they should talk, how they should dress. They know Krishna so thoroughly well that they are absolutely well equipped to give exclusive pleasure to Krishna. They are perfect in the methods of serving and pleasing him. And amongst these gopis who are so perfected, Radharani is the topmost of all. She surpassed in qualities, beauty, love all the other gopis. And that is why Krishna hankered to experience the happiness which Srimati Radharani experiences in her service to Krishna. Now, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami especially emphasizes that please understand, there is no tinge of material lust in the love between the gopis and Krishna. Nothing, not at all. Material lust is like iron. But love for Krishna, Krishna Prem, is like gold. There's no kama. Atmendriya priti vancha tar bale kam, Krishnendriya priti vancha dhare prema naam. When the objective is to, when the motivation is to serve and please oneself, that is known as kama or lust. But when the goal is to give exclusively pleasure to Krishna, that is known as prem. And gopis' love is exclusive prem. Love is like the bright sun and lust is like a dense darkness. And Krishna continues to think. We'll just take 5 more minutes and then we will end. I just want to complete this chapter. It's so amazing. So much Krishna is thinking. So much Krishna is thinking deeply. and he's made it available to us. So at least the least we can do is spend some time to hear about the transcendental musings of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Krishna was thinking like this: I am blissful in all rasas. The whole world derives pleasure from me. But who is actually capable of giving me full pleasure? Only Radharani. But her happiness is always greater than mine, 10 million times. My beauty is 10 million times the beauty of Cupid. But my eyes derive pleasure in seeing Radharani. My flute, when I play, it attracts the whole world. But I become attracted by the sweet words of Srimati Radharani. I'm hankering to hear them. My body is Suvasa. It has a transcendental fragrance which enchants everybody. But I get attracted by the fragrance of the body of Srimati Radharani. It captures my mind and heart. My touch to any living entity is cooler than a million moons. Everybody wants my glance. Just when I glance on somebody, people become totally satisfied and happy. That is the quality of my touch. But when Radharani touches me, I feel refreshed. Radharani is completely captivated by me, but she experiences far more pleasure than me. Her satisfaction in seeing me is greater than my satisfaction in seeing her. And I cannot understand or express the pleasure she feels even with hundreds of mouths. She's so happy in my presence. And I cannot understand this kind of experience, this kind of love, this kind of deep feeling of happiness unless I accept her mood of ecstatic love. So thinking like this, Krishna finally concluded that all these three related desires, to understand the greatness of her love, to experience my sweetness, my means Krishna's sweetness, Madhurya, and to experience the joy of that Radharani feels in loving Krishna. Krishna says, no, the conclusion is no other choice. I cannot keep my position as Vishaya and experience from that perspective. I have to take the perspective of the Ashraya Tattva. I must take the position of a devotee, and not just any devotee, but the highest of my devotees, which is Srimati Radharani. I will take the mood and the bodily complexion of Radharani. And in that way, I will love myself, so that I can approach myself from an external perspective, so that I see myself as a Vishaya. For a devotee, Krishna is a Vishaya, so I will see myself as a Vishaya. In that way, I can actually experience these three things and fulfill this desire of mine. So assuming the sentiments of Radharani and the complexion of her body, I shall descend on this earth, Krishna decided. And as Krishna was contemplating like this, Krishna also remembered at the same time about the three external reasons for appearance on this world. Oh yes, it is also time for the Yuga Avatar on earth. Oh yes, I want to give Vraj Prem to the people in general also, and I want to spread that Vraj Prem through the chanting of the holy names. And Advaita Acharya for so long has been worshipping and crying out, Krishna, please come and give Vraj Prem. Wonderful. Correct? Sub, everything is coming together so wonderfully. So now is the perfect time. Let me descend. I have just descended 5,000 years ago. Let me descend again and fulfill this desire of mine, accompanied by my eternal associates from Vrindavan, who will also come down as devotees. I will perform the Sankirtana pastimes, Nama Sankirtan, which is the establishment of the Yuga Dharma. And through the chanting of the holy names, I will distribute Krishna Prem. And simultaneously, when I come down this incarnation, I will experience the deepest feelings of love. Radharani felt Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So thinking thus, for these three external and internal reasons, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu decided to descend. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. So it is 1008, very auspicious time to end the class. So I am opening up the floor if anybody has any comments or questions. I hope this was not too heavy. Did any of you find this philosophically too difficult to understand? Or did you find it boring? Suraj Prabhu, you want to ask something?
Yeah, Prabhuji. Two questions. The first question is, just to correct me, Prabhuji, if I'm wrong. During Rasa Leela dance, right, in the 10th canto, yes. So all gopis and including Radharani, if I'm not wrong, they get possessive about Krishna and he'll suddenly disappear. So how is this? That means that love thing is getting contradicted if you take the case of Radharani, because love, what you said in one of your classes, love is something without any expectation. You do a person, but you don't expect anything. So how is this justified, Prabhuji?
Yeah. So this is where I briefly mentioned that the love of the gopis and Radharani sometimes appears externally crooked and duplicitous. So this is exactly what is duplicitous. Duplicitous means I want this for myself. Why are you not doing like this? It appears selfish, but it is not selfish. So the acharyas explain that they do like this, including chastising Krishna, or sometimes you are neglecting Krishna, knowing that it will just increase Krishna's happiness and love. See, Rukmini is extremely submissive in her love to Krishna. She's always, Krishna, what can I do for you? Can I fan? Can I bring food? She's, like this always. Like that ideal servant. A servant in the sense, of course, at a Madhurya level, a servant. As a loving wife. The best wife. So if the best wife example from a conventional sense is Rukmini. But Radharani's love is not always like that. Her love, sometimes she will pretend to be angry with Krishna. Sometimes she will refuse to meet Krishna. And in many ways, she will act, which will appear as if it is going against the principle of pleasing Krishna. But why she is doing that is because she knows exactly that Krishna also enjoys this kind of interaction and rasa. Sometimes the boyfriend likes when the girlfriend, in our colloquial language, you say, bhav khati hai. You understand what I'm saying? She says, no, I don't want to talk to you. Go, I don't want to talk to you. Krishna feels so nice. So he just enjoys it. Okay, I don't know. I never had a girlfriend, so I don't know how it is. But whoever have had, they can confirm whether it is like this. So there is some enjoyment even in a tussle. There is some enjoyment even in argument. There is a kind of pleasure. Because Krishna is a Rasaraj, he likes to explain, and Krishna likes that kind of love more. That is Krishna's personal preference. He likes that more. That's why he says, no, I don't like, rather than purely submissive love, I like this kind of love, which is selfless, but at the same time is very possessive in feeling. So ultimately, at the heart of all these expressions of love, it is actually utter selflessness, even though it may appear to be motivated by some selfish desire. At a very superficial level, it may appear like that. But they do all these things, and that is why they are able to do. If we try to do, we will get one slap from Krishna if we try all these things. Please don't try. They know exactly what Krishna wants at a point of time because of their very advanced spiritual consciousness, and they know exactly when to chastise Krishna, when to give in, when to not give in, when to run away. They know exactly what will please Krishna at a particular point in time, and Radharani is the most expert in this art. So at external level it appears, but all their movements, all their gestures, all their words are perfectly done in such a way that at that moment Krishna will enjoy most if they behave like that. That's their only question that they ask themselves. You understand?
Yes.
Haribo. So we can't understand, but at least we can understand that we cannot understand that this is possible. Radharani ki jai. Yes, what is the second question?
The other question is more of a general question, Prabhuji.
Hmm.
Because since you keep forwarding photos of Krishna, and I went to one of temples, so they added me to WhatsApp group. So every day morning I get photos of Krishna. So every day I get questions like every day the dress is almost like not repeated, right? Like who does that Alankar, Prabhuji, and how much time does it take?
Oh, it's a very intense service. Dressing the Lord in the morning takes more than an hour.
Yeah, because every day the photos are different. Every day that ornaments are different. Like so, every day it appears different actually. So
It
just
appears
curious to
because
know
it
who
is.
does it, how much time does it
So
take?
there are pujaris. There is a group of pujaris who does this in every temple. Their preparation and planning goes on many days in advance. Previous night they will already take out all the dresses and the jewelry that is to be done. Then very early in the morning, as soon as the Mangal Aarti ends and the curtain closes, they start the service of every day. The deities are, at least the small deities are bathed. The bigger deities are dressed and cleaned and massaged and dressed. So all their dress, ornaments, etc. slowly, and there is a way of how all these services are to be performed. So it's a very beautiful service, very pleasing, absorbing service. Also service where one has to be very careful because directly interacting with the deities. So yes, it's not an easy thing. I mean, we can do the similar service at our home if we have deities. And Grahasthas are encouraged to have deities in their own home. But yes, all over, and especially amongst, there are so many devotees of Krishna and so many schools and organizations. But at least as far as we can see today in this world, nobody decorates and dresses deities as nicely as what ISKCON devotees do.
Yes.
All over the world. And the reason is we are trained to understand and develop the vision that this is not a murti, this is Swayam Krishna. Pratima nahi tumi Swayam Brajendra Kumar. This is a verse from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. That you are not a Pratima, you are not deity, you are not a murti, you are Swayam Brajendra Kumar, you are directly Krishna. And when we treat Krishna like that, then Krishna also reciprocates with his devotees like that. If we treat Krishna like stone, Krishna will reciprocate as a stone. When we treat the deity as Krishna standing personally, and devotees have that kind of experience when they serve the deities very intimately, they get that experience. Krishna reciprocates with them in various ways. There are many pastimes of this. We don't have time today to discuss, but it's a very sweet, purifying experience.
Yeah. Prabhuji, one last question. Hello, can you tell me what is the fine difference between Murti and Archa Vigraha?
The Murti in a general sense is a form, right? Archa Vigraha means the Vigraha, the body of the Lord, for the purpose of Archa. Archa means Archana. So when the Lord manifests in this world in a Murti form for the purpose of receiving Archana through the process of Prana Pratishtha, that form of the Lord is known as Archa Vigraha. Vigraha means the body. So the Lord has a transcendental form in the spiritual world, but a form made of stone or metal, for example, the Lord accepts that form as his transcendental vigraha for the purpose of receiving archana. That is an archa vigraha. So archa vigraha is a more technically correct way. A murti is a very generic word for idol, so to say, of or a image of somebody or something.
Okay. So like when we have to address either deity or archa vigraha, right, Prabhuji?
Yeah, deity means the person himself. We say deity because we don't even say this is murti. We rarely use the word murti.
Because what I got doubt is like
we can use the word murti sometimes, perhaps before pran pratishtha, but after pran pratishtha we rarely use. We just use the word deity, or we'll take the name of the deity. We'll say Gopinath. Oh, Gopinath looks nice. We don't say, oh, this murti looks nice. And we say like that, it's like saying, if you are very nicely dressed, it's like me coming over and telling you, oh, your body looks nicely covered today. So what do you mean my body? I am looking good. So because I've differentiated you from your body. Krishna, there's no difference between him and his archa vigraha. It is one. You understand? So devotees have that consciousness.
Yeah, because the most of the names, like they append that murti at the end of the names, right, Prabhuji? Most of the Indian names. So
It is not wrong. It is not wrong because it is a murti, but the word murti doesn't convey the understanding. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying murti is wrong, correct? Because murti is the personification of somebody, right? In the form of, we have made a murti according to that person's swarupa. But the further understanding is that the murti is the archa vigraha.
Okay. Yeah.
It is the murti of the deity, but the archa vigraha and the deity is one and the same.
Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Are you all able to understand what we are discussing? Is it too technical? How many of you feel you are struggling to understand? You can raise your hand. Suyesh Prabhu, I am assuming thumbs up means you are able to understand.
Yes, Prabhu. By your grace, I am able to understand.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so thank you very much. It's almost 10:20. So thank you. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami ki jai, Shri Rupa Raghunath ki jai, Shri Goswami ki jai. So I'll see you all on Saturday. Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare
Thank you.